Toothpick, my mother said, like a surgeon asking for a surgery knife. I handed her one from the container. She grabbed one of the slices from the bowl, stabbed it with a skinny wooden spear, then jammed it into a hunk of watermelon. Another one, she commanded. I handed her another toothpick. The things about this process is that I honestly never knew what she was doing or how she was going to turn whatever fruit we had on the table into some kind of masterpiece. It usually happened just like it was happening this time. She'd tell me what I supposed to cut or peel or skin off, usually oranges, and then she'd say random words like toothpick or honey, or my favorite one is Walla Walla Bing Bang, which she only said when she was done and happy with her creation. Because my mom thinks it's funny, because my mom is my mom. This went on. The toothpicking, the toothpick passing, and the orange slices I prepared always makes me feel like I did more than just peel and split. Create the band of the cowboy hat. I always I ain't even known cowboy hats had bands around them, like the ribbon part, usually smooth hats worn by smooth people. Suit hats, not cowboy hats. But I don't really know nothing about cowboys, so whatever. Maybe they do. Mom also had also taken grapes and attached them along the border of the watermelon block, which I guess would be the brim of the hat. I ain't think cowboy hats were decorated around the brim. I ain't think cowboys were so fancy. But mothers know a lot of stuff about stuff, so when she yelled Walla Walla Bing Bang, I knew cowboy hats could be fancy, at least in her world. That's it? I asked, sizing up the art. I tilted my head a little, hoping that it would look more cowboy. If I checked it out from side view, that's it? Ain't she something? She looked like one of those I see a Mexican kind. A sombrero? Nope, definitely not. Too small. She shook her head and pointed to the picture and woman on the windowsill just above the sink. My mother loved this lady. Her name was Freda. Mom always said the lady Frida also made lightning through art. In a photo, Frida was standing next to this big dude who's wearing a sombrero. I've always seen this picture my whole life and never noticed it. That's a sombrero. She picked the picture up, examined it, glanced at the watermelon hat, then back at the picture, and added, well, maybe a little, but still, this is a cowboy hat for me. Confident cowboy. She set the picture down and then turned to me. Listen, it's artistic expression, so let's just box it up and go, okay? There's a tradition my mom and me have when delivering the fruit masterpieces. On the way, we listen to her music, which is old music, and the way back, listen to my music, which is good music. On this trip going, it was Bobby Brown. We have a song, he has a song called Roni that my mother loves. And I think it's so funny because this dude, Bobby, just be calling the girl he says he loves a tenderoni, which is I think is such a stupid name. Seriously, like what? So whenever mom be singing it, I just changed out tenderoni to macaroni or pepperoni, and it makes her mad. You're ruining this song for me, Lou. Do you know your dad and I danced to this at our first date and at our wedding? She turned the volume down just low enough to make sure I could hear it, and she could still hear the song. If dad called you tenderoni, why do you why did you go out on a second date with him? That's like calling you turkey wing, I explained. Oh, if you find a turkey wing that's right for that is right for you, I sang, pretending to be lover boy Bobby Brown apparently was. You're too young to understand. Okay, so you want to you want me to call girls tenderonis, tenderoni and cheese, tenderoni salad, tenderoni sound like a cooked macaroni. Matter of fact, Dad told me I could name my new sister. I know. So she checked her mirrors, slapped her blinker on. So what I want so what if I went with tenderoni? Tenderoni Richardson rolls off the tongue. Okay, Lou. Okay, okay, you win, she said, changing the station. Next tune up, called My Prerogative. Ugh, what is he talking about? You know what? Mom sucked her teeth and turned the radio off. We drove down the boulevard, cutting through neighborhoods, the street that I'd become used to, running on Thursdays when the Defenders did our long run. Even we turned into Glass Manor. Says it right round here, Mother said. Mom said, slowing down in front of not the house of his distinguished gentleman, right here. Mom checked her paperwork, then checked the GPS. That's what it says, right here. It was a corner store. The sign above it read in faded paint, Mr. Charles Country Store, which I thought was funny because we didn't live in the country. But we were delivering a cowboy hat that we made from fruit grown on some lady named Frankie's farm, so maybe this Mr. Charles knew something I didn't know. And I'd been holding the cowboy hat in one of the plastic boxes my mother uses, stickered and ribboned, the whole ride to make sure potholes ain't ruin it. They didn't. My mother's car was a different story. You got this, runner, my mother asked, putting the car in park and leaning over and peer out the passenger window to make sure we were in the right place. What she mean by you got this, runner? I get was Lou get your butt out and deliver this to the door? I was runner. No, not just on the track, but off the track too. Back and forth from car and all the lucky customers who were proud recipients of fancy looking fruit things. Bowls, baskets, fruit, pieces. Not pieces of fruit, but masterpieces of fruit. Of course, I said, opening the door. I always say of course, because I know I really don't got no choice. And I've met people, or at least said hello to some strange people. Snake milkers who think that people who take venom out of snake fangs so that it can be used for medicine, which is a medicine I don't never want to take, or this lady who was a professional snuggler, which would be perfect job for somebody like Sonny, or a dog food taster, a man who tasted dog food by tasting it to make sure it was good for dogs. Yeah, but this time I wanted to be the runner because I just knew Ghost was going to be there. Lou, my mother tugged at the back of my shirt, and I was trying to get out of the car. Remember, this is work time. This ain't about your friend. Another reminder. I nodded, 1 foot out of the car. And Lou, remember to smile. I know. 2 people out. 2 feet out. Oh, and say good. She went on, but the noon and afternoon got sniped by the slamming door. The store was wide open, so I walked in, mouth also wide open, big, fake smile, ready to hit the stage and play myself. With good afternoon, my name is Lou, and I have a package for Mr. Charles Ringwald from Picasso Produce. And right before I broke into it, I caught a familiar face in my corner of my eye. I turned, look, stuck, swallowed, stick in throat, ghost, standing next to who I wished was a ghost. Kelvin. No. No, 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 no. Kelvin. No, no. Not him. Not him. Kelvin Jefferson, or Smelvin Kelvin, as I called him, but only when he wasn't around or when I was talking under my breath. He was in the same class with me every year. And because of this stupid idea teachers have about doing everything in alphabetical order, as if that was the only way to be organized, I always ended up sitting right next to him. Yes, even through the J in Jefferson is far away from the R in Richardson. It was my luck of the only person in the last name with those letters. Corey Moore had bad hearing and did better sitting in front of the class. So That left Smelvin's J sitting right next to my R, which basically means it was always a slap in the back of the head range, always close enough to hear him whisper, "Yo, you look like a cotton ball dipped in white paint, like milk, like somebody's supposed to pour over your cereal, like grits with no butter, like sugar, like a cloud with eyeballs, like vanilla ice cream with whipped cream on top, like lines and crosswalks before walking on, like face looked like fake teeth. Your whole body looked like the palm of a hand, like a Q-tip, like a cooked rice, like fresh snow, like ashy elbow, like moon, if moon had arms and legs and ashy elbows, like soap suds. Yo, you look like spat out toothpaste. Look like ugly old tidy whitey's bleach, like bleach, like uncracked eggs and not the brown kind, the white kind, like a piece of paper with no lines and no ink, like a whole bucket of baby powder, like a ghost that God brought back to life and still left as a ghost. Yo, you look like something wrong with you. You look like something wrong with you. You look like something wrong. Yeah, 7 years of Calvin Johnson. He used to scrape mud off the bottom of the sneakers and smear it on me and say, "Look, I fixed you." And then when I tried to fix him back, one day at recess in fourth grade, I was finally able to scream out Smelvin and tell him that his breath smelled like he had rotten tongue, like his teeth were made out of mildew, like he ate scrambled poop for breakfast, like he tried to wash up his own sweat, like he drank toilet water with a straw, and he had all these dark spots on his arms and legs, purple and blue, told him it looked like God was trying to make a leopard, but halfway through changed his mind and decided to make him a loser. When I finally got the nerve to hit him back with all this rapid fire heat I'd been storing up, held squared up, puffed out, balled up his fist, surprised, and when he did it, I stepped back, lifted the orange I was holding, I'd saved from the lunch, cocked it back like a pitcher, and fastballed it to his ugly face. Flap, snot and pulp all over the place. Foul started crying. Fool started crying like a little baby. Okay. I'm lying. Part about the orange, that ain't happened. I mean, it did, but only in my mind. Calvin Jefferson, see, here's a thing about Calvin Jefferson. He's big for his age, too big. I didn't even, it don't even really look like he was born, but instead was built, put together on some kind of blockhead bully factory, assembled like a conveyor belt that is screwed on his arms and legs, something like that. Dude stands like a capital T. That's how I knew them purple and blue spots weren't bruises or anything like that. Couldn't have been, because nobody's big enough to bruise Kelvin. Nobody. So when I tried to zing him back, it was more like zing. He squared up to me. And then I dropped orange and ran. Got ghost, zoomed around the monkey bars and back and forth across the basketball court. I dodged him as he cannonballed toward me, weaving through the swings, bumbling across the field like some corny but scary fairy tale troll. And then I got back to class and sat on the edge of the chair, only half butt cheek actually on part of the seat. The rest of me was just kind of hovering there, my face turned to the side, so one eye could always be on him, waiting for school to be over. Just as it was let out, jetting. Phew! He tried to keep up, but stumbled over his funky feet in the hallway. I heard it, but didn't see it. Wasn't about to turn round, but just kept pumping out of the school. Through the bus lines and carpools, past the crossing guards, slicing right through their stop whistles, off school property through Barnaby Terrace.